All right, B, roster review time.
Right?
Running backs.
Running back.
We know the top two here, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler. You start on either one.
Well, Brian Robinson, we've seen him. We know his toughness. We know how he runs the ball. I think Brian has also shown he can catch the ball at the backfield. I think having that and improving that part of his game will make his game easier. Because if he's just the guy when he goes in the game, he's running the football. He's going to always be the team's going to be prepared for that. Austin Eckler, on the other hand, has already proven in his career that he's a very effective out the backfield. He's dominant when he gets into the red zone. He knows how to get into the end zone. But I think both of those guys working together can be a plus for this team because you can't just say, well, they're doing this or that, unless it's that type of situation. But following those two up with Chris Rodriguez, I think that kid last year showed his power. The things he can do. Yeah, he can
5'11",
he can play.
220.
Yeah. And I think you're looking at those three, they'll probably be the guys, but then they have guys that are following them up that with
the guy
Jones
Austin Jones they signed from USC.
McNichols and those guys.
Yeah.
I think 3-4 guys make the team. I believe that.
I think it kind of depends what happens at tight end. But if they got to keep 4 tight ends, the squeeze comes one way or another. I think McNichols, Jones, also the kid Mike Wiley's an undrafted guy at Arizona. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens there. Jones got a little bit of cash, was at USC with Cliff, so that's one you wonder.
It shows him having a good chance. That's what but looking at Jones and looking at Rodriguez and the way he's been doing, you can see those top 4 guys right there being the people.
Sure.
Because I think the running backs would be more of the return guys, especially when it comes to the kick return.
Yeah, the new kick return rule, for sure. So, and honestly, Rodriguez could probably really help you there.
He can block or he can run.
Dude, the one thing I'm curious what you think. So at this stage of his career through 24 games, Brian Robinson's averaged exactly 4 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at his rookie season, where he got 205 attempts, he didn't really get going until about halfway through the year. If you remember, he was on the PUP list for the first 4 games, so he didn't play at all after being shot in the leg. Then he kind of came back slowly a little before he really hit his stride. And then late in the year, the numbers really dove off. And I think he might have even ended his rookie season on IR. If not, yeah, I knew he was inactive for the final week. But there was a stretch in there where Brian Robinson really looked like he could be a horse, right? Mm-hmm. But that rookie season, he got shot. It's hard to really gauge what you had there. Then last year, offensively, nothing worked. Nothing clicked. You didn't get a great performance from your O-line early on. There was no balance in the play calling. You had a quarterback that wasn't a rookie, but performed like a rookie, turned it over too much, took too many sacks. Mm-hmm. His carries actually dipped last year from in 9 starts in 22, he had 205 carries. Last year, Brian Robinson had 15 starts, had 178 carries. Now, there was in both seasons a timeshare with Antonio Gibson. I don't know that we've seen everything he's got yet.
No, you haven't. You look at the first year, as you stated, when he came in his first year, he was set back. It was a hell of a setback.
Totally.
But once he started to run the ball and started to feel himself, just like we talked last year about, Sam going through a whole season.
Right.
He hit that wall too his rookie season.
Yeah.
The next year, he came back last year, and I think the whole thing about it is those guys, I don't know, some certain guys on that team, I think, even when they felt they should be taking a break, they didn't try to. Most of them would take it automatically. Brian was one of those guys that tried to work through things.
Yeah.
And that's how you get yourself hurt.
Well, and then you look at some of these games, right? Like late in the year against the Niners out there when they brought Wentz back in the second half of that game, and then they didn't want to have to ask Wentz to do too much. He ran the ball 22 times for 58 yards, right? Against a really, really tough physical Niners defense. 2.6 per carry. He's getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Right? And they're just leaning on him. Then they come back the next week game. They've got to win. Carson's terrible. He starts them. They end up losing 24-10 to the Browns at home, get knocked out of the playoffs. We all remember that.
Yeah.
He ran the ball 24 times for 87 yards. That as much as last year's offense where they never ran the ball didn't work, that didn't work either. Just the straight up battering ram style. And that's why I'm excited for Robinson with Kingsbury, with Jaden. Honestly, I think a guy like Tyler Biotish is going to make a big impact. Just a capable, durable center that ideally is calling protections and sliding things in the run game. They haven't had consistent center play since Chase Roullier broke his leg in Denver in 2021. You know how long ago that was?
Yeah. Been a while. But see, that's the whole thing of it. Like, we constantly say about the importance of the quarterback. I think it's the importance of the O-line and the D-line, and then it allows everybody else to be able to do their job in a more efficient way. Right now, we've had running backs trying to run through walls, and we had cornerbacks trying to cover forever because pressure wasn't getting to the quarterbacks on the other teams. But I really believe that by strengthening those lines, if you get those lines strengthened, then all of a sudden this team will get better. Because just because you buying a jersey don't mean much.
Right.
It's about the guy who you don't buy their jerseys. Those guys are more important than the others. Believe me.
I think the running back room certainly has enough. I'm not going to say they're the best in the league. I think Eckler doesn't strike me as a dude. Austin Eckler knows his public profile, knows his public worth. He likes to engage in fantasy football stuff. His wife is a dancer, apparently. There's a Netflix documentary. Apparently it's kind of weird. I really don't care. I don't think Eckler is upending his life and moving from LA to DC. From LA, where I would say Austin Eckler appears to have a future in media or maybe even entertainment. He's that kind of guy. He ain't leaving LA to come to DC unless he thinks there's a real role and a place that he can show the NFL he's still got it.
Well, he want to show him he's still got it, but he doesn't want to carry the ball 300 plus times.
Right.
And I think he's at a position in his career now where he can truly help a team by doing less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's the ultimate thing where they have basically made the running back position be cheap,
right,
in a sense, instead of trying to enhance what you have on your team. They shouldn't have, when a guy gets into 8, 9, 10 years, shouldn't be carrying the ball 350 times. But if he can now, you can start utilizing more. The game now is about passing and receiving. And if the running back can start to be that a little bit more and still be able to run the ball effectively, still have an effective running back.